I always appreciate it when games give you options. By that I mean environments that allow for player freedom and expression. Levels with a set objective, but let the player approach them in any way they like. There are a plethora of ways to approach options in different genres, but what I'm interested in is exploring freedom within linear levels, like those found in platformers. Because linear doesn't mean a lack of freedom. Completing objectives in a set order, but allowing players to achieve set objectives in a unique way, can make for some extremely organic gameplay. If the objective is to reach a set point, the game can provide the player with a variety of ways to traverse the terrain. If the objective is to activate a series of switches, the game can allow the player to choose the sequence and method in which they reach them. The most important thing is creating an ecosystem that allows this freedom of expression. Designing an environment for the player to achieve an objective organically, opposed to a preset path or a single preordained solution. Because letting the player pave their own path and make their own choices lets them feel intelligent and accomplished. There are a plethora of games that do this exceptionally well. A little while ago, I talked about how options make Mario Odyssey that much more engaging, because it allows you to overcome obstacles in whatever way you like, with the determining factor being how comfortable you are with the controls and your creativity. And the same can be said about an incredible game I've discovered recently, this being Ghostrunner. Ghostrunner is an action platformer with an emphasis on speed and momentum. I found myself amazed by this game, and I've been replaying the levels over and over, getting faster and more competent each time I speed through them. Or so I thought, and there are a few things that make the structure of Ghostrunner incredible, and how they provide room for player choice and expression. Firstly, many of the best levels in Ghostrunner require you to defeat a series of different enemies, in some concise yet open-ended areas. These kinds of levels get more and more complex as the game goes on, and are more akin to a puzzle than a combat encounter. Some of these enemies will shoot you slowly, others rapidly, some requiring timing to defeat, some will leap towards you, some will have front-facing shields, and so on. But all of these enemies can eliminate you in one hit, which heightens the tension as you navigate around their attacks. These open-ended areas provide you with the perfect environment to take advantage of your adept mobility to take out these enemies, while nimbly avoiding an influx of lethal attacks. Be it riding on walls, sliding under pipes, riding on railings, or swinging from grappling hooks. The combination of these details provides you with the perfect ecosystem to combo moves together, allowing you to fly through the level at a high speed, while also forcing you to plan your route on the fly. And alongside the enemies, these levels get more and more demanding mechanically, and test how well you understand your movement options. Speaking of which, your kit is a simple, but extremely diverse moveset that can be adapted to any environment. This kit is composed of a slide, jump, wall run, air dash, and block that are easy to learn, but provide a very high skill ceiling. Slides can be combined with your jump to increase momentum on the ground. Your dash allows you to gain that bit of extra speed, or change your momentum, and even dodge incoming projectiles. This is not even mentioning the chargeable offensive abilities you unlock as the game progresses, including Blink, which allows for a quick execution of several targets, or Overlord, which briefly turns an enemy into an ally, just to name a few. These three aspects of Ghostrunner provide an excellently challenging and exhilarating experience. But it's how these aspects are realized in-game that elevates Ghostrunner from good to great. If Ghostrunner exclusively featured linear, straightforward challenges, it'd still be a fun experience, but it also gives a breadth of player freedom in the form of concise yet open levels that provide players with options. Upon reaching a new area, you'll often be presented with a decision you have to make when approaching the level. These can sometimes be obvious decisions, like going left or right, and sometimes will be more intricate, like deciding which types of enemies to take out first. These choices will dictate the way you approach the level, and in what order you will face challenges. But ultimately, you have the freedom to complete the level in whatever way you choose, with the only limitation being your level of competency with your moveset. There is also no right or wrong decision or direction, it's all on your shoulders. You're frequently required to make on-the-fly judgments based on the environment, the threat of enemies, and your movement. Should I take out this enemy first or that one? Do I go straight in or wrap around behind the enemy? Do I use my one use of blink on the swordsman or the rapid-firing soldier? These quick decisions are essential because they test your competency in your kit. Instead of giving you a linear path, Ghostrunner instead says, here's an environment with an objective and you figure out the best way to beat it. It's such a respectful way of challenging the player's skill and allowing them the creativity and autonomy to figure out the best way to complete a level, which makes for some truly beautiful organic gameplay. Of course, this freedom and these options wouldn't feel particularly rewarding if these levels didn't provide an adequate challenge, as you wouldn't be forced to master a level and figure out your preferred route. Luckily, Ghostrunner provides the appropriate amount of challenge, which is quite a bit. You will die a lot in this game, as you slowly master your movement, make choices, mistakes, and retry levels over and over and over again. With such high speed and such little room for error, Ghostrunner thankfully doesn't make death any more punishing than it needs to be, with a quick death screen that allows you to retry, and retry, without wasting any time. It's this challenge that makes it so rewarding when it all comes together, and you finally beat that one level with your own path that you paved. Okay, now for a practical example to show you what I've been talking about. Let's take this level that I was stuck on for quite a while. I'm not going to break down every possible route, but instead detail my pathway. I first launched onto this slide and took out the guard. Then I looped around to take out these drones, while I avoided their fire and the attacks from enemies down below. After much trial and error, I found you can use blink to defeat the second drone and latch onto this railing here. This allowed me to loop back to where I started, but with no soldier on top, I could drop down and take out the additional enemies without threat from above. Now with the details out of the way, this is what it looks like. This was probably not the most efficient way to beat the level, but it was my way. It's a way I figured out after dying again and again, learning the blind spots of guards, how far my mobility could take me, and when to use my blink ability. I figured this all out on my own. After dying so many times to this level, overcoming this challenge felt so incredibly amazing, as it wasn't only my mobility that got me there, but decision making, with the options the game provided me. Ghostrunner has become one of my favorite platformers because it feels so challenging, but in such an organic way. The options and freedom the game provides, alongside the tight movement, the varied enemy types, and the intricate level design, makes for a game environment unlike any other. I've been replaying levels in Ghostrunner over and over, finding new ways to beat them, and challenging my own record time. Returning to levels that first gave me trouble and breezing through them is a feeling so gratifying, it's got me absolutely hooked. This is something I wish more games would do. I wish more games would trust the player and provide them with meaningful options, because it allows them to surmount challenges in their own way. It's not so much about creating a defined pathway, but making an environment that's so well designed, players can experiment and enjoy the game their way. And Ghostrunner is a perfect example of this design philosophy. I'm PrimeHylian, and thanks for watching.